Hello, hello, and welcome to Oracle Hour. My name is Sabrina Rising. I'm a spiritual mentor and a psychic medium, and I am honored to channel spirit on your behalf. So, I do this broadcast twice a week on Wednesdays and Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific, and it's my honor to have you here. For those of you that are here, I think there's some questions in the chat already. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here with me live. We are streaming in three places. We're streaming on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to make sure we're live on Instagram here in a moment, and on YouTube. So if you want to come and ask questions, please don't be shy. Join us on YouTube at Sabrina Rising, and just put your questions in the chat. We are serving people on a first come first serve basis. I have a trusted moderator with me here tonight. My friend Lorraine is here, and she will be handling your questions. If you are someone who is desiring a mediumship connection, if you know there's someone on the spirit realm that you want to speak to, if you want to have a message from a loved one, and this is something that you're grappling with, of course, when it's your turn to ask questions, if I feel the presence of someone here that wants to convey a message, I will always come forward with that. However, I prefer to do mediumship readings inside of a mediumship event, a circle that I hold every 2 weeks. It's called Spirit Speaks. It's a 2-hour workshop that we do. And here we go. Comments. Here we go. It's a 2-hour workshop that we do every other month. And Lorraine, if you have the link for that, please post it now so that everybody has it. Okay, thank you so much. So if you want mediumship, sign up for this. It's 2 hours. We go very deep. It's in a Zoom environment. We can see each other. We can interact, and everyone is guaranteed a mediumship connection. Okay. Thank you. Do you have the, there you go. And we'll just put that on. We'll just put that on screen. Beautiful. Excellent. Welcome, 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 everybody. So for tonight, first of all, I want to acknowledge, I've got some really beautiful comments on some of my content, and I've gotten some personal messages via my website. So I really acknowledge those of you that are watching, that have questions, that, have very, very thoughtful questions about the content. There was one comment in particular that sort of inspired the talk that I want to give tonight. I want to talk about, hi, Emily. I saw you on screen there for a moment. Tonight I want to talk about, let's take the link off, and we'll just post that back at the end. Thank you, Lorraine. I appreciate that. Okay, good. So tonight I want to talk about, someone commented about being in 4D, and I went live earlier in the week with a dear friend and colleague talking about spiritual relationship, karmic relationships, and trauma bonds, and how to view our personal relationships through the lens of spirituality and inner work and growth and so on. And there was a beautiful comment by someone around achieving 4D awareness. And 4D awareness is where healing begins. So let me give you some context. All human beings, we come into this incarnation and we are operating in 3D consciousness. Okay, so the conditioning phase of early childhood is something that we cannot avoid, right? The caregiver environment that we're born into, we elect on a soul level. We choose these parents, we choose this environment for karmic reasons. And these conditions are usually the most favorable ones that will allow for the best learning, the most, perhaps the appropriate circumstances, I want to say, not the most difficult, but sometimes it might feel that way, but the most appropriate circumstances that are really going to establish the foundation for us to learn, to heal, to grow, to neutralize karma, and to evolve as a soul. That's what we're here on the human plane to do. And so, when we talk about 3D, we talk about dense reality. My experience of myself as separate from other things, right? 3D is we feel disconnected from the world around us. We feel like we're on our own. We don't know if there's something beyond our 5 senses. And so this is 3D reality. And to move into 4D, and 4D is a expanded awareness. It's an expanded level of consciousness. This is how we do psychic readings and mediumship work and intuitive work, is we are expanding our awareness beyond 3D, beyond what I can see, touch, feel, hear, and experience the tangible evidence of. Okay, so in the realm of the unknown, which is the intuitive work, is the realm of the unseen, being able to channel messages and bring information forward so that we can answer questions, we can connect people not only to what's about to happen, but to their deeper truth, the deeper truth of what we all have access to. It's just a matter of undoing our conditioning so we can feel the full impact of whatever that truth is and be able to trust it. Okay, so moving into 4D requires a willingness, it requires awareness. It also requires, an understanding that being in 3D is creating suffering. Right? Being in this 3D consciousness where we don't have access to a higher power, we don't have a connection to spirit, we don't have a spiritual lens from what we're experiencing. We're really in the pain and perhaps the suffering of the human experience. Okay, so we want to be able to come out of suffering, which is healing. That's what we're all here for, is healing work, right? We want to know that things are going to work out, that we're going to get the messages we need in order to bring us reassurance and comfort and peace and so on. We want to heal. We're looking for that sense of inner peace and deeper fulfillment and reassurance. And we can actually create that for ourselves by expanding our awareness, by coming out of 3D and moving into 4D. 4D awareness is where true healing begins. Okay, it's where times starts to feel more fluid. We start to feel less attached, less entrenched in our pain, and more able to create a sort of a gap between the experience we're having and what we're going to do with the experience we're having. So that pause that says, I'm in a reaction, and I'm going to explore my emotions so I can make a responsible choice on how I'm going to behave. So this is the beginning of 4D awareness. This is where our intuition starts to come online, right? This is where we start to feel, sense, and experience things that are beyond our 3D awareness. And so many of you that come here week after week, I know, are already sort of dabbling in 4D. You're already feeling your intuitive gifts come online. You're already sensing, knowing, trusting your gut feelings, trusting the first mind, which is in the gut feeling. I'm coming off the heels of the first week of the Way of the Mystic. So we talked a lot about developing intuition and really doing inner child work, healing work, to establish that foundation of trust, so that we can start to come online with our intuition. And why is this important? Because our intuition is never wrong. Our intuition is always guiding us in the right direction for the evolution of our human experience, for the neutralization of karma, the evolution of our soul, and really to make the most of this human life so that we can live peacefully, fulfill our potential, and be content with the life experience that we're having. Okay, so if you're still suffering with lack and longing and feeling out of place, or feeling like you lack purpose, or not being lost and disconnected from a sense of purpose, you're still in 3D predominantly. Okay, and that's okay. That's what we all came here to experience. And there is a way out of it by slowly bringing awareness to the pain that you're experiencing, the suffering that you've perpetuated by resisting the pain or resisting the lesson that the pain is presenting to you, and just learning to take responsibility for that through, changing your beliefs. This is one way we can do that, is by shifting our belief system. And I say this over and over again, our beliefs influence every cell in our bodies. So we have to change our belief system in order to have a new perspective, in order to have a new disposition, in order to even manifest new circumstances, because the subconscious mind is responsible for 90% of everything we're manifesting. So when we change our beliefs, conscious and unconscious, we are really setting ourselves up for effortless success. Okay. And I say that, of course, with the understanding that it doesn't always feel effortless, but when we actually do the work to change our subconscious beliefs and bring them in alignment with what we consciously desire, it can feel effortless. It's possible for you to manifest the things that you deeply desire in an effortless way by challenging your belief system. So this is how we start to develop 4D awareness. Is now I'm shifting my belief system. I'm opening myself up to spiritual practices. I'm starting to meditate. I'm creating, and there's a question here about how to heal from something, which I'm going to get to in a moment. I'm opening myself up to, feeling energies, being more sensitive by creating this mindfulness practice, by doing some deep breath work every day, or connecting to a higher power in some way that resonates for you. There's 10,000 ways to God. So I don't have a specific pathway. I only have the path that worked for me, that's allowed me to heal my body physically, my destructive thinking that I suffered with, for many, many years, and some of my unresolved emotions from my childhood, right? So I'm here as a product of this work and sharing from direct experience the things that will allow you to move into 4D, so you feel like you have more awareness and more capacity for action. the one thing I loved about the comment that I got on the video this week was this first step is awareness, which is 100% true. Awareness is a big first step, but the most important thing we can do is to start implementing the awareness. Okay, so by taking these actions, by taking responsibility for our beliefs, we can only do that if we sit down to really look at them and challenge them and see how they're affecting us in our lives. If you have a belief that, you know, there's not enough money, you're going to create the evidence of that belief. If you have a belief that it's hard to find love, you're going to create the evidence of that belief. And so we have to be willing to challenge our beliefs and to find it within us to even be willing to shift that belief and say, I'm willing to believe something different, even if it just begins with the willingness, right? So this is so important. Willingness kind of cracks that door open and allows for a new frequency to emerge, a new energy to come through, a new manifestation, new evidence to arrive in your life. Even just the willingness does that. It kind of is the key that opens doors to higher realms of consciousness. So willingness is important. And then the implementation of the tools that I teach here on a regular basis, whether you watch me live or you watch the replay or you watch some of our evergreen content, it's all about inner work and taking radical self-responsibility for the quality of your life so that you can change your own circumstances, and have access to your own intuition. This is so, so, so important. And when I'm channeling for you, all those that have questions tonight, what I'm doing is connecting with your higher self, connecting you to your own intuition, and confirming what you might already know, even if you're not conscious of it. Okay. And that's the beauty of this work, is that it really distills this idea that we are all operating in universal intelligence. And it's just a matter of what paradigm am I in? Am I in 3D? If I'm in 3D, I don't have access to higher realms. I probably don't have access to my higher truth or my inner wisdom or my inner knowing, because I'm in survival mode. I'm stuck in this fear-based consciousness. And as I take the steps to take personal responsibility, to heal mentally, emotionally, physically, I start to expand my awareness. I move into 4D and I integrate and anchor my experience of 4D by implementing the tools that I'm describing: the meditation, this subconscious rewiring, the actions, the aligned actions that are going to allow me to create a life I love, the actions that sort of make sense for someone who wants to create a certain reality. Okay, this is what we mean by alignment. We act as if it's already done. And then we, of course, with time and inner work and continued practice, we can move into 5D, which perhaps will be a conversation for another night. 5D is the realm of unconditional love, where everything feels effortless, where intuition no longer becomes something that we feel we have over here on the side, or that we can access on occasion, or that we have to be in a certain mode in order to access. It's just a lived experience. We operate as open channels, giving and receiving love, and giving and receiving information. And this is the realm of true, deep healing. It's also, I believe, 5D is the realm of the neutralization of all our karma. And therefore, the human experience becomes no longer necessary. Okay, so that's my talk for tonight. It's very important, if you're on a healing journey, that beyond awareness, we need to move into implementation. So the integration of the awareness that you're receiving. As you start to, receive messages tonight, think about how they apply in your life. Think about how you can put certain things into motion in order to take responsibility for the trajectory you want to be on. Okay, so I'm going to give predictions, and I'm also going to give spiritual guidance on how you can implement this advice so that you can shift your circumstances and feel empowered, which is my wish for you and my wish for all beings everywhere. All right, good. Beautiful. Thank you for hanging with me. That's my message for tonight. Hello, everybody. Hello, Sweet Fairy. Hello, Janet. Hello, Miss Jules, Emily, Janet. Nice to see you. Hello, Anita and Rhonda. Beautiful to have everybody here. Hi, Angela. Greetings from Canada. I love it when Canada's in the house. All right. So, Lorraine, we'll take the first question. Hi, Janet. Janet says, my husband, Michael, was laid off a month ago from his tech job. When do you see him getting another job? Thanks. Okay. I mean, I can feel the tension around this, and stress, and what are we going to do, conversations, and the anxiety, and so on. So I just want to acknowledge that. And I want to acknowledge that this is a difficult time in your family. And so it's very important to bring awareness to the feelings, the energy that this is creating in your environment. Okay. So that's number one. First thing I would say is everybody just relax, because I do feel like there is, I feel like, I mean, the energy of this is that it feels sort of sudden and maybe a little unexpected. And there are plenty of jobs in this realm in this way. I actually feel like it's something that's further away from this particular job. Maybe it's remote, but it feels like it's in a physically more distant and further away from what he's used to. So it could be that he works from home and then maybe goes into the office or something, once in a while. But I do feel like there is another job, kind of like, my predictions are usually within 3 to 6 months. And I would say it's on the closer side, more immediate side of that. And because I'm really tuning into the energy of here and now, right? And so that doesn't really expand out beyond 3 to 6 month timeline in terms of the way I read energy. So and interesting, because I feel like this other job is also tech, but different. It's got like a different, maybe it's in a different type of industry, a different type of product, or different type of yeah, definitely different industry somehow. And so, but I feel like your husband is very talented at what he does. He's got like, he brings a lot of value in the things that he's been able to accomplish, the things he's been able to build and architect. The word architect keeps coming through, like solutions architect. So I think that that's applicable to Michael. And I feel like he will be, he's going to be okay. Your family's going to be okay. Everybody just needs to relax and trust the process, and trust that being laid off, although sudden and perhaps jarring, is not an unfortunate thing, and I know that could be hard to hear in the position that you're in right now, but we're always being guided. It's never rejection. It's always redirection. We're always being guided to something that serves our highest and best good. And so there's a really beautiful opportunity here for him to step into a different type of environment, perhaps a different industry that is a bit more wholesome, holistic. There's something about that wholesome, holistic that resonates for the job that's coming, that's going to allow him to express more of his gifts and perhaps see him and value his abilities more. Okay. So I love giving good news. That's my message for you tonight, Janet. I pass that on to Michael and tell him that, yeah, that we'd love to know how this unfolds. Okay. So come back and let us know. Thank you. This is from Kelly. Okay, so I apologize for my barking dogs. Okay, Kelly emailed me earlier today and said, I'm struggling with my 21-year-old son. Kelly, if you're watching, we're answering your question. Hopefully you catch us live. If not, you'll catch us on the replay. I'm struggling with my 21-year-old son's behavior and attitude at home. I'm at a loss, and I'm having doubts about my first love, whom you think is my soulmate. What do you sense for both? These are two completely different questions. So my 21-year-old son's behavior and attitude at home, I'm at a loss. Having doubts about my first love. What do you think? What do you think is my soulmate? Okay, let's talk about your son first. So I think it's, first of all, I mean, there's such a clear need for boundaries. I know that seems pretty straightforward, but I think it's time for you to sit down with him and talk about the possibility of not living at home. I think it would be good for both of you, even if that doesn't actually happen. Just having the conversation of that being, perhaps this is the next best step, is going to do one of two things. It's going to show him that you've really reached your maximum capacity, and that you, but to do this from a place of nonviolence, right? And what I mean by that is like really coming from love and compassion, not coming from anger and reaction or feeling like a victim or any of those things. This cannot be an emotionally charged conversation. I want you to, Kelly, get very centered within yourself and get very clear and, detached from any kind of codependent behavior, just sit with your son and have an open conversation and be like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. Like, this doesn't work for me. We've tried different things. Like, this is your opportunity to advocate for your needs and to set some very clear boundaries so that your son understands how serious you are. And it's going to trigger something very important for him, because he doesn't see fully, he doesn't realize fully how much this is affecting you. And the idea of perhaps him living on his own, or even contemplating that, is going to trigger other things in him. So he's going to maybe all of a sudden realize you're serious and start to take his behavior more seriously, or maybe even start to look for a place. I think some space between the two of you is what's needed here. Okay, there's a lot of codependent enmeshment. You've been sort of a victim of his behavior for quite some time. This needs to end. Sometimes physical space is the best way to do that, especially when the conversations are not clicking, right? So it feels like you're two ships passing the night. You're saying one thing and he's not listening to you. So that would be my guidance for this, and I think he'll be okay. He really, even if he struggles at first, I think it's going to be important for him to build this character and to realize, the impact of his behavior, and how he's created this circumstance for himself. Okay. So this is 100% what I would recommend for you in this situation. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and I want to say, keep trying the NVC modality with him, but I don't think I don't think it's going to make a difference at this point. We've come to a point where it's like, it's time to really have a serious conversation about your relationship and about what it's like to live with him. Okay. Now I'm just going to tune into your love question. Having doubts about my first love. Who thinks my soulmate? What do you sense for both? I actually think these questions are connected in the sense where it is, we're still dealing with your relationship to the masculine. So in both of these situations, there is a need for you to advocate for yourself, to draw healthy boundaries, and to establish a new standard for how you're going to be treated. In both of these situations, there's a need for you to find your self-expression and to be able to command how you want the relationships to go. Okay. So in both of these situations, there's a part of you that's kind of waiting for the other person to meet your needs or to give you what you want. And that's not going to work. It's just not going to work. I feel like in both of these situations, you're not being taken seriously, or you're not being fully seen and valued. So this is what these two questions have in common. Relationship to the masculine, it always goes back to the relationship with father, our conditioning, our childhood. And this is a pattern. This is a pattern in your relationships with men, whether it's your son or partner. It's going to show up everywhere, okay, in your relationships with men. So there's something for you to sort of take a step back and really be okay without the relationship, to be okay taking a step back from the dynamic and say, this isn't working for me, and here's why, and this is what I need going forward. I do feel like this first love is a soulmate connection. And part of the soulmate connection is mirroring back to you all the ways in which you are not loving yourself, all the ways in which you haven't been showing up for yourself. And that's what this relationship is doing. So I don't feel like you need to leave the soulmate relationship or break up with the soulmate relationship. I think there's work for you to do before you do that. And part of that process is you standing your ground and advocating for your needs and being very vocal about that and setting down some real non-negotiables so that you can be taken seriously. Okay. And that's my message for you, Kelly. Okay. So I hope you're watching and I hope that resonated for you. And come back and let me know. I know you're struggling with the chat, but you can always feel free to message us or leave a comment at the end. Okay. Thank you. All right, Lori, we'll take the next one. Hi, Emily. Nice to have you back. May I please have some insight about the school I'm transferring to? Thank you. Oh, okay. I would love to do that. This is the school that's overseas, right? This is the school that's like far away. I don't remember where exactly, but this is the school that you're moving to. with your you're going to live with your mom and be in the school. So, and of course, if anyone is validating, Lori, any information, then please put on screen. Okay, good. Thank you, Emily. Okay. I think, first of all, it feels like a smaller school. Smaller school, more intimate, less students, or maybe more of a specialized program, which is going to be good for you. Oh, Hawaii. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You're not in Hawaii now, so that's you sort of crossing the pond to go there, as they say. And so, okay, so I think so. Again, it's a smaller group, smaller school, smaller. It is smaller. Okay, yeah, and this is a good thing because you need to make friends, you need community, you need to align with like-minded people. There's going to be some other students in the school that are also transplants, like they're from somewhere else. So that'll be nice to have that in common. I think it's a program where you're going to get a lot of nourishment because you'll get a lot of attention. And, I feel like you're not 100% sure what direction to go in. I don't know if you're studying horticulture or there's something around earthy garden stuff, or maybe it's biology or that kind of thing, but it's there's a study of some kind of science, and it's where I'm from originally. Okay, Hawaii is where you're from. Okay, good. I think this is such a good thing for you. I really do. I really feel like the program you're going into is going to be nourishing, and I think that it's going to maybe not be the final thing that you study, but it's going to open a door to trigger something that you're very deeply passionate about. Okay, so this is the path that you need to be on right now. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. I was going to be in some field of biology. I can't get marine or wildlife, maybe. Good. Biology is what I feel. So that's exactly what I'm envisioning for you. That's what spirit is communicating. I think that this would be very good. And again, very nature-based, nature-related. And starting off with the biology is good, but it's a foundation to something else. It's not the end. It's not the final thing that you're studying. It's going to open up the door to something more specific, that will come through in your studies. Okay, so this is a very positive thing. I want you to make peace with your current environment, pack your bags and get ready to go, and go with an open heart, and go very willing and enthusiastic to go. I also think it's going to be very healing for you to be in Hawaii. There's some kind of full circle moment, either with your mom or being around family, or kind of making peace with where you were raised. There's opportunity for healing as well. So I've been to that school before and had a bad experience. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't let that deter you from the school from the experience you're going to have now. I think you're going to find it very different. You're different. And so this is going to be a different experience for you. Obviously, the same people are not there anymore. So yeah, I know that you have a lot of evidence of the past not working out. There's been a lot of pain and trauma. And I really want you, Emily, to work on your belief system. Let's go back and listen to the beginning of this video, work on your belief system, and really create the possibility of things being different, things being positive, things working out in your favor. This is a really good, I was hoping more. Yes. Okay, good. So I'm confirming that for you. This is a good affirmation for you. And for anybody, everything's always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Okay, even if it doesn't feel like it is. All right, so we want to really try to embody that feeling. And if it feels like you're lying to yourself, like you're trying to trick your subconscious mind, then start with, I'm willing to believe that everything can work out for me. Just start with the willingness, because the willingness, as I mentioned at the beginning, is the door that opens higher realms of consciousnness. It gives us access to higher realms of possibility. Okay, just that willingness alone. And that's an understatement. I don't know what's an understatement, because I kind of on a rant. But yeah, I want you to trust that this is oh yeah, I see what you mean. What's an understatement is the evidence of pain and things that have happened. So we got to come out of this funk. Okay, and I'm trying to help you. This is the bridge out of the depression that you've been in, is sort of trusting the realm of infinite possibilities, and that things can be different from the pain and trauma part. Yeah, I got that. So I really want you now to this is a clean slate, fresh start. Create new beliefs and open your heart to the possibility of things working out. Everything's working out for me, or I'm willing to believe that everything's working out for me, and take it from there, right? Let your body really integrate and anchor into that affirmation, and just trust that this is unfolding. You're exactly where you need to be. Okay. So if we go through life always expecting the worst, or expecting to be hurt, or expecting for something bad to happen, we're inviting that in. Okay. So I want you to really trust right now and do the inner work that I've suggested before, the diaphragmatic breathing, meeting your feelings with compassion and non-judgment, so that you can create a more positive environment for yourself, inner environment for yourself, and that's going to affect your outer circumstances. Okay, so I think this is very good. I'm very excited for the school and the biology program that you're going into, and come back and let me know how that unfolds. Okay, thank you, Emily. Beautiful. Okay, who else? Hi, Anita. Anita says, will my son get CIH waiver approved for residential living? Okay, I don't know what any of that means, so this will just be a yes, no question for me. Okay, so it's never, I mean, the first answer I get is yes, and there's more to it than just a simple yes. It feels like there's some kind of either background check or some kind of approval process that he needs to go through that's causing some anxiousness at this point. So he's gonna have to maybe prove some things, and then it will work out in his favor. It's not a straightforward yes. It's like he's got to put some things together first, and then it's a yes. Okay, then it'll work out in his favor. Yeah, and I think it would be very good for him. I think this is a good thing that he's applying for. It's a good process that he's putting himself through. And the other guidance I want to give you is to, I want you to empower him by just kind of supporting him and letting go of your attachment to any of his outcomes or what he's doing and so on. There's feels like you're putting a lot of focus on him or a lot of attention on him, or, I want it, and I say this with love and compassion. Of course, I'm a mom too. So I want you to sort of back off his energy a little bit and give him some space to sort of figure this out on his own. I think that'll be helpful for him, and it will also help affect the outcome as well. Just if he feels relaxed, and if he feels like, it's okay if this works out, and if it's okay if this doesn't, I want to kind of advocate for his loving detachment in this process, because I think that'll really empower him. Okay. And that's the sort of the spiritual guidance I want to give you, because, it's always okay if it isn't, it's okay if it's not. And it's really important, as we're trying to manifest a specific reality, that we set our intentions and we show up fully. Like your son's going to have to do some things, like prove himself, seems like, but also letting go of our attachment to the outcome is very healthy too, because if it's not this, it'll be something else. And that other thing will usually work out for his highest and best good. Okay. But if you want to give him some good news, you can, and come back and let me know how that unfolds for him. Okay, Anita, thank you for being here. Beautiful. Who's next? Hi, Emily. Hello, beautiful Sabrina. Hello, beautiful Emily. How nice. What advice do you have from the other side for me? Or you can answer if Greg and I am taking, Greg and I am talking, I'm talking to has true intentions for me, and what advice do you have for this situation? Okay. I love how you set up the question, because there is no other side, and I often refer to it as well, because we're in 3D and we don't feel or see or experience here in regular conversation how our loved ones are always around us, but there really is no other side. Everybody, all of universal intelligence is around us. Our spirit team is around us. Our loved ones are all here. So I just want to say that. and create a context of like, oh, all guidance is coming from universal intelligence, even if it's coming from my mouth. Emily says, I ask a second question in case mediumship is out of the question. That's very sweet. I love that, Emily. Okay. Well, I mean, and again, if I feel the presence of whomever for you, I will always convey the message. Okay, so Greg is the guy you're talking to. It feels like your grandmother, I'm just going to go with it. It feels like your grandmother helped bring the two of you together, Emily. And you may already feel this. You may already know this on a soul level, that it sort of feels like it was sort of divinely orchestrated. Um, um, Lorraine, can you bring up her previous question? Here we go. Oh, here, I got it. Okay. Yeah. No, I feel like that she helped bring the two of you together. I feel like, part of what the work that there is for you to do here is to be willing to let your guard down and be willing to make yourself vulnerable. I think that there's been a sort of a history of hurt and of disappointment and of loss. And I think that your grandma is in spirit is helping to for you to see that it's okay to love. It's safe to love. It's safe to move forward in this situation. And I feel like that's what she represented for you. And so it's very, it's very poignant and powerful for her to be the one to convey this message and to just, reassure you that it's time for you to open your heart and to keep you and to allow yourself to be vulnerable. We cannot fall in love fully if we're not willing to have our hearts broken. So she's, kind of conveying this message of like, don't be afraid to feel fully and to love fully. And you have it in you, and you've been sort of holding on to it and keeping yourself safe. You're very sensitive, Emily. You're very sensitive, very tender, very sweet soul. And you've been through a lot. And so you've kind of been, you've sort of been holding yourself back from being fully out there and connecting deeper into love. And so I feel like this is a good connection. I don't feel any concerns about it other than the need for transparency and self-expression. So really talking and advocating. This seems to be the theme tonight. There usually always is one, but always is one during Oracle Hour where we, oftentimes I hear myself saying the same thing over and over again to people, like just speaking your truth and asking for what you need. Right. This is very important. My grandmother was my safe place, my safest person to protect her. Yeah, I feel that. She's here. She's like, it's okay, right? She's here to reassure you. She was here to tell you that it's, I wouldn't tell you to move forward with this if I didn't feel it 100%, that's where she's representing, and I can see the two of you sort of spending time together as you're little, and she's, kind of, also feels like she sheltered you from some of the goings on in your home environment with mother and father, and so she created that, like as you say, this sanctuary for you, and she's still doing that from where she is. And you can connect with her. You can connect with her spirit. If you have some of her objects or some things that she left behind for you, you can connect with her energy in that way. You can also ask for her to make her presence known in your meditation practice whenever you're sitting with spirit. Or if you don't do that, then I would advise you to start, kind of connecting with her, because she's very much with you on this path and she wants to know that it's safe to love. That's the message from Grandma coming through me for you. And I will leave you with her love. Okay, so your job in 3D is to advocate for your needs and ask Greg for what you want and be very clear about what it is you want to create and how you want to move forward in this relationship. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with how this unfolds. Okay, she told me when she was alive that she would always look over me here on earth and on the other side, sweetest moment. Beautiful. I love that. And I love that you got that confirmation tonight that she is here with you indeed, especially now that you've met someone that you want to create life with, right? This is so beautiful. And she's kind of, she's giving her blessing, saying, go for it. And, advocate for yourself and stay in that truth, transparent self-expression, so that you are clear with Greg about what it is that you both want, and what you're creating, because he can meet you there. Okay, Emily. So I leave you with her love, and I'm so glad that she came through for you tonight. Hi, Vicky. Okay, Vicky says, hello, Sabrina. Someone that I haven't spoken to for close to a year reached out recently. Can spirit see why? I honestly don't see myself meeting someone and sharing life with. When I haven't spoken to for close to a year reached out recently. Okay, so Vicky, do you know? Is it that you don't see? You don't see yourself with this person, or you don't see with yourself with someone in general? That's not clear for me, but otherwise I can answer the question. I mean, this. Okay, so you're in a phase right now, Vicky. I want to say it this way. Okay. You're in a phase right now where it's time to heal your heart, and it's time to heal some unresolved pain, someone in general. Okay. So this is perfect for what I'm about to say. So you're in a phase right now where it's time to heal your heart, and spirit's saying, like, you've had it shut down for quite some time, and you've sort of blocked off love and relationships. Could be connected to whatever happened with this person, and it's time to revisit not the person or the relationship specifically, but the wounds that were created in that relationship, so that you can heal them. Okay, so you're incomplete with your own self in terms of what happened in the relationship, what happened for you on an emotional level to cause this pain. So I'm scared of meeting the wrong person. Okay. So, I mean, here we go. Here we're talking about it. This, of course you are, because of what happened. Part of the reason why he's coming forward is not so that you can reconsider him, but it's so that you can reconsider the experience of the relationship and go, oh, I'm supposed to revisit these wounds. Of course I am, because I'm meant to heal them. Right? If you're not healing, you're not living. This is for everybody. If we're not healing, we are not living. We are just surviving. We're scraping by. We're trying to, carve out a semblance of existence while we age, on this planet. And this is not why we're here. We're here to live fully. And the only way to do that is to heal, is to examine our beliefs, is to, as I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, is to challenge the way we think, we operate, how we feel, the choices that we're making, so that we can start to live a more intuitively guided life. We cannot do that if we've closed off our hearts. It's impossible. Okay. So, and I hear you, and I'm sending you so much love and empathy for the heartache that you're carrying. It feels very deep. And it's an old story. He pops up from time to time. True. This person remains on my mind often. Okay, good. So here, this person is a gift. He is a symbol of the healing that you must do in order to be willing to love again. I would never advocate for you to get back with this person. I don't think that's what this is about. This is really about you. You're welcome, Vicky. This is really about you looking at the wounds and going, okay, it's time to get over my fear. It's time to stop living in fear. It's time to stop keeping myself safe. It's time to stop protecting myself from love. And I had this conversation with a friend earlier today. A wall is a wall is a wall. If you put up a wall to guard your heart, that wall is also preventing the flow of abundance, the flow of health, the flow of all the other things you can receive from the universe, which is yours. You are the universe incarnate in this temporary physical body. This is true for everybody. That is you. That is currently referred to Vicky in this lifetime. And all of the universe can be yours if you allow yourself to unblock all of the pain and all of the limiting beliefs, all of the identities that you've created to keep you stuck in 3D, as we talked about at the beginning of the show. Okay, so you want to move out of 3D and into 4D, and you can do that by developing awareness. You're going to do that by your homework. Here's your homework. Okay, so you're going to look at all of the wounds that were created in this relationship, how you were hurt, and the beliefs that were formed as a result of the hurt. And you're going to give yourself permission to challenge those beliefs by feeling through all of the emotions and meeting them with compassion and non-judgment. Be willing to sit in the fire of your uncomfortable emotions. This is what spirit wants you to know. And then you're going to reset your belief system. You're going to shift how you feel about yourself, about love in general, and you're going to see what happens. Okay. As soon as you take responsibility for the pain that this relationship caused, that's why he keeps coming back into your life, because it's like, it's not him, but it's what he represents and that part of your life represented. All those wounds are what you need to revisit so that you can have a full experience of being human, right? Again, if we're not healing, we're not living. And this is my message for you tonight. Okay, Vicky? So I want you to do that work so that you can open up your heart and start to, consider, again, this is about feeling complete and fulfilled and connected. And human beings are wired for connection. We are. So we need other people in our lives, whether it's family, friends, romantic connections. We need love in our lives. Okay. So this will help you create that. All right, Vicky. I hope that was helpful. And okay, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. I hope that was helpful. Hi, Miley. Okay. Miley says, hello, Sabrina. Do you see my daughter, Olivia, at her current job for more than 2 years? What a specific question. Timelines are very tricky in intuitive work. I'll just say that up front. I usually predict within 3 to 6 months. I can tell you from tuning into the energy of yes, no, whether or not she'll be there beyond 2 years. My feeling is no. And I'll tell you why. I think that Olivia's interests or something will happen to create a spark, a different interest, like it's going to open up another door, another opportunity. When I tune into Olivia, it feels like she's very creative, very smart, very capable, very ambitious, and she's always looking to expand and grow and, open herself up to new possibilities. And something, she's going to attract some kind of either opportunity. Feels like she's either being recruited or a friend of a friend, or someone's going to mention some other thing to her that might feel better. So it's the current job is changing. And, it's difficult for me to quantify whether or not she moves into a different role in the same company, or if it's just something completely different altogether. But the phase she's in right now is temporary. And I don't, my first hit, yes, no, is she going to be in this for beyond 2 years? No. Okay. And that's a good thing. I advocate for everybody she has been moving every year. I see. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's really nothing wrong with that. I know that as a mom, you probably want her to find her footing and find stability and so on, but it feels like I can feel her energy. She's expanding and growing. She hasn't fully landed yet, and that's okay. Part of her process is to find herself through her work and through her self-expression. And that's true for so many of us. Okay. So, my answer is the same. I don't think she'll be in this role for more than 2 years. And I think that's a good thing for now. I do feel like Olivia will find stability at some point. It's interesting because I actually think Olivia might settle into a role when she starts to create her own thing. Okay. She just moved back from Hawaii. Okay. So, yeah, there's something about Olivia specifically that I feel like she can do on her own. Like there's an entrepreneurial energy that I'm picking up on. Like she can either create something or do something when she finds her own. This is someone who's meant to do things in her own way, own unique way. So when she finds what those gifts are, and I feel like she's on the path to doing that, she'll settle into something that's hers. And it feels like she's doing it on her own, maybe not working for someone else, but working for herself. Okay. That's the energy I feel around your daughter, Miley. And it's I know that it can feel unsettling, especially because you want her to find stability and you want her to figure out her path. But my advice to you as a mom is to trust her and trust the choices that she's making and trust that she's figuring it out. Okay. So I hope that gives you some peace. And you can do some inner work yourself to sort of, deal with your own attachments. And this is always my advice to moms is let go and just trust that, your children are making the choices that they need to make in order to fulfill their own soul contracts. Okay. So this is very important for all parents. All right, Miley. Good. Lorraine, hi, Summertime. We had a question at the very beginning from Sweet Fairyish. Can we put that up on the screen? I don't want to step over her. And then we'll come back to Summertime. I think it's right here. Here we go. Here we go. We got it. Okay. Hi, Sweet Fairies. I know you were here before we started, so I just want to make sure I get to your question. Sweet Fairies says, would be grateful for any messages to help me on my healing journey. Please, I'm recovering from Graves' disease. Thank you. Okay. Graves' disease is really touches the thyroid, okay, which is an imbalance. It's an imbalance. If you look at it from the spiritual lens, it's like the inability to be fully self-expressed and to take action wherever necessary. So block self-expression, the fear of vulnerability, overwhelm, loss of control. These are all kind of relevant to autoimmune diseases. These feelings. This is, physical symptoms. I want to say this in a different way. So our unresolved emotions, our limiting beliefs, our trauma, the story of our lives, whatever we're holding on a cellular level, will always turn into physical symptoms when we don't resolve them. Okay. So this is what great, and this is perfect that it's coming through tonight, because tonight we're talking about advocating for ourselves. We're talking about self-expression. We're talking about asking for what we need, and setting proper boundaries, and, vocalizing. There's something in your inner work journey, healing work journey, where you really need to start talking about what happened, okay, in early childhood. And this will help you. This is my message for you that's going to help you on your healing journey, is talking about what happened. And I know that there's some part of that, especially when it comes to talking to your mom, that feels very overwhelming. I want you to start journaling. Okay. So write it all down, the story of your life, like your childhood, the pain that you experienced, all of that. Start writing down the things that caused you pain. That's going to help the flow of expression as you develop the energy. It feels like, Graves' disease is autoimmune, so there's low energy. And that's going to help open up the flow of energy for you to be able to express yourself more vocally and talk about what happened. Talking about what happened is going to help bring you online. Of course, mindfulness practices, the meditation, the breath work, the inner work, the subconscious rewiring work, all the things that I talk about on my channel. You can watch my evergreen content for tips on how to rewire your subconscious mind, how to heal the inner child, mother wound, father wound. It's all there. Okay. So I really want you to have a look at those, and I feel like you're doing a lot of the right things, even starting to move your body a little bit more. Going on walks and being in nature is going to be very helpful for you as well. Okay. So there's something, especially in the relationship with mother, that you need to start expressing and talking about. And this is going to help lift the heaviness of this burden we're calling Graves' disease, which is really blocked self-expression, affecting your thyroid, affecting your throat chakra. Okay. So that's my message for you tonight, sweet fairy fish. Or sweet fairy-ish, if you're watching live or watching the replay, please let me know in the comments section if this resonated for you. Okay. Good. And I think we have time for one more. Let's bring Summertime back, because I took her off screen. Okay, good. Hi, Summertime. Summertime says, I'm going through a difficult time in my relationship. Would really appreciate a reading, as I'm very confused. Thank you. Okay, Summertime. Yeah. Okay, so to be or not to be feels like the question here in terms of the relationship. Should I continue? Should I not continue? I can feel your confusion. I think it's it's a good time. And this is always a pattern of what comes through in the readings. It's a really good time for you to take some time apart. Okay, to really take some time apart and regroup and think about, what it is that you want in your life. I want to say, and I say this with love and compassion, I really feel like you've given this relationship, and I feel like it's just not meeting your needs. it's just not meeting you where you want to be met. And so there's two things I want to say about that. Number one is he aware of what your needs are? I would like to continue, not sure about him. Okay. Yeah, that feels like that's where you are. Do we move forward or not? But okay, and so here's what I want you to examine. I know you want to continue, but why? Like, like I want you to get really clear on what your needs are in this relationship, and how much of yourself are you manipulating to make yourself more loving, more favorable, more attractive to this person, to really make this work. Okay. It feels like um yeah, it just feels like it's I would like to, not sure about it. Okay. um yeah, it just feels like there's too much that you're settling for. Okay. And of course I say that with love and compassion. I know you found someone that you love, and that you want to make this work. There's a lot of there are some deeper issues here that the two of you need to work out in order for this to continue, in order for him to be fully in. He's not 100% in. And so you need to have a conversation about expectations, what you both want, what your needs are, how you're going to meet each other there, and really get clear on the kind of relationship you want to be in. I think some time apart would be good. He's no longer communicating. Yeah. So I guess because he's not all in, right? So, and this is what I'm saying, you're not getting your needs met. So, if he stopped communicating with you, that's a very clear sign, and I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. And I know that the wounded part of you is sort of grappling with, well, was it me? Well, could something I could have said? Could I have done something differently? What can I do to have this person back in my life, or to continue this relationship? This is a recreation of an early lifetime dynamic in your life with the masculine that's not serving you. I think that if you are clear about what you want and what you need, and you're advocating for yourself, and this person's not responsive, there's your answer. And Spirit wants you to have your needs met. Spirit wants you, I want you, everybody in your life, all of your spirit team, universal intelligence, source wants you to have your needs met. We want you to feel loved and cherished and honored and seen and valued and fulfilled. And that's not possible in this relationship with this person, because he's not meeting you there. Okay. So my reading is, I want you to take a break, take some space, regroup, as I mentioned in the beginning, really focus on what you need and how you can fill your own cup, and taking personal responsibility for that, so that you can heal from this. Okay. He has his own fears and his own, you're welcome, summertime. You're welcome. He has his own fears and his own BS of what he's dealing with when it comes to commitment and relationships. And so he's got his own trauma to resolve, and he's not being clean about it. He's not being clear about some of his issues and what it is that he's grappling with. So it's very hard to have a conscious relationship with an unconscious person. So I want you to really just regroup and take some time for yourself, and realize what you're worth, what you can have. You are worthy of so much more than this, and don't settle for less than that. And once you've advocated for yourself and you've communicated what you need, and this is what I need going forward, if we're going to move on, if that opportunity presents itself and it feels appropriate, please do so. Otherwise, I would cut the cord and move on, and find love within yourself. Finding love within ourselves is always the first step to finding love, real, true, sustainable, everlasting love with other people. Okay. You're welcome, summertime. Good. Beautiful. Okay. Let me see here. Should we let's take, I don't know what time we're at. Okay, let's take one more question. If Lori, if you're in, I'm in. Okay, so Maria says, may I ask, does Philip cheat on me? We have been together for many years. I'm wondering, does he cheat on me with other women, and what is going to happen with us? Oh, Maria. Okay, so I'm going to answer this question in two ways. First of all, if you already have doubts that your partner is unfaithful, then there is a part of you that knows that something's off in your relationship. Okay. and there's a need for trust that's not being met, which I know seems obvious, but I have to say it because of my integrity. So there's a need for trust that's not being met, like cheating over the internet. It doesn't matter whether it's the internet or in person or over the phone, or it doesn't matter, because what you're feeling is insecure, and there's a deep, deep insecurity in you that I don't feel like any amount of reassurance, even from me, is going to satisfy. And I say this with love and respect. So, my sense from you, Maria, is that um, there's a lot of trauma around the relationship to the masculine, the relationship to, men in general. And yeah, and it just feels ungrounded. You feel ungrounded in this relationship, and grounded in your relationship to love. Okay, so there's a need for reassurance and connection, and I feel like you've attached yourself to someone who's avoidant, who's not fully available to you, who's not giving you what you need. You don't feel safe with this person, and so this is you know you've recreated an environment from childhood where you don't feel safe in this relationship. I have been through so much trauma. Yeah, I feel it. I feel the insanity of it. I feel the chaos of it, and it's not your fault. What happened to you is not your fault, but it's your responsibility to heal it. Okay. So I would not focus on him and what he's doing and not doing. I mean, finding out if your boyfriend's cheating on you is about just simply having a conversation with him, having a conversation with him and trusting your body to feel if the truth is being spoken. Okay. You don't have full access to your intuition right now because you're in such a PTSD frequency, so much physical. I've been beaten up by my parents. Yeah. So that, I mean, I feel that. I feel the chaos of it, all the PTSD in your body. How are you going to feel and trust in your intuition if you haven't healed that part of you? How are you going to trust love if you haven't healed that part of you? Of course, you're in a relationship you don't feel safe in. It's natural because you didn't feel safe as a child growing up. So you recreated another chaotic environment for yourself. Okay. So whether or not I want to say, okay, so let me just give you my psychic hit. Do I feel like he's cheating on you? I feel like this person is not fully above board. I want to say, I'm going to answer it in that way. Is there, I don't feel like it's a clean, transparent, wholesome, committed relationship that you're in. I think you're in a trauma bond with this person who also has unhealed wounds in his relationship with his parents, his mother. And the best advice I could give you is to take a break from a relationship where you're not getting your need for safety met, so that you can take responsibility for your own pain, your own trauma, and do your inner child work so that you can heal from that. And once you heal from that and create an environment of self-love and self-acceptance and start to feel safe in your own body, then you can manifest a different type of love. It's not going to be this guy, and that's what I want to say to you. All right. So this is not about whether or not he's cheating. It's always the questions that we want answered are always so much deeper than what we're asking, and this is my job as someone who is not only a psychic and a medium and a channel, but I'm a facilitator of inner work and inner peace. And what's important is for you to find peace in your relationship. And this is true for you and true for anybody who's asking questions. I want you to find peace within yourself first. And when we do that, all other questions become answered. Everything else becomes clear. Okay. So, yeah, I would take a break from this relationship. If you don't trust him and he's not coming forward with answers and he's kind of avoiding the question when you're trying to have a conversation with him, I feel like he's not answering your question directly. I would take a step back and say, this is the replay of an environment that I'm very familiar with, and I don't want to live like this anymore. Okay. And then take the steps you need to take to do some inner work. Maria says, yeah, you're very good. Thank you. I accept the compliment and very accurate. Good. I'm glad that landed for you. For those of you that want to be on an inner work journey, that need to do inner work, everybody needs to do inner work. As far as I'm concerned, all healing work is inner child work. You can, there's a link here to work with me one-on-one that Lorraine is going to post here in a moment. You can book a reading with me as well if you want to come in and hang with me for an hour and have an hour of my undivided attention so we can go deeper. Lorraine, you can post the readings with Sabrina link right there. You can also explore, this is my dog telling me it's 6 o'clock. We can also explore the possibility of doing some one-on-one work together in a long-term container if you want to do your inner child work and reprogram some of your beliefs from childhood. That's all available on my website. And for those of you that want mediumship, Emily, if you're still here, for anybody who wants a mediumship connection, please click the link to the upcoming mediumship event in July, Spirit Speaks. It's a 2-hour event. Lorraine, if you can put that link up, that would be great. There you go. There it is. And we started the Way of the Mystic this week. We're 1 week in. So I am accepting applicants if you want to join us for week 2. After that, the doors are closed. So you'd have to sign up before next Friday. The link to the Way of the Mystic is coming up next. Lori is going to post that as well. If you want to learn how to channel, if you want to learn how to develop your sensitivities, develop your clairs, your intuition, make meaningful mediumship connections. It's very cool to watch people learn how to talk to their spirit team and how to talk to loved ones for themselves and for other people. If this is something you want to develop, then come and join our Way of the Mystic. It is deep healing work. And of course, we must heal in order to come online with our intuitive gifts and have access to other realms, as I talked about at the beginning of the show. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This was such a beautiful, thank you so much, Angela. This was a fun session. It was an awesome session. I really enjoyed our show tonight. And thank you all so much for all your beautiful questions, for your support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Feel free to join my channel as well. If you join the channel, you get automatic access to all my mediumship events, to a monthly psychic gallery reading, and to guided meditations and exclusive content on my channel. Okay, thank you so much. Have a beautiful Sunday, everybody. I'm sending you so much love. There's my dog right there.